Okay, let's start with the meeting. We can wait for others. We can join them.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So today we are joined here for a mental webinar organized by PRASHA. So let me talk to you about PRASHA. We are a student-led organization that aims to promote healthcare advancements through networking and collaborations. Our members are well driven by passion for healthcare as well as a strong desire to make change. And we improve people's quality of life by offering them opportunities, and especially to students and communities in all different fields to help them grow as well as advance their career opportunities. And today we'll be conducting a mental health webinar, which would primarily focus on CBT tools to help manage stress and anxiety. And as we know, in today's world, it is very important to manage it, especially for students and more especially for medical students. And today we'll be learning evidence-based CBT techniques, as well as we'll be gaining insights from a very valuable expert in our panel, which is um, Anna Akberova. And let me tell you something about her. Hello, ma'am. She graduated from KFU in 2010, and she has a vast experience working with children and a good experience and very valuable for us in depression as well as therapy. She is currently teaching both in KFU and Kegimo, and she is teaching psychology. And today we'll be learning a lot from her. And so I will give it over to you.
Well, first of all, thank you for asking me to meet you all. I'm glad to be here. And first of all, I'd like to tell you that I want to make our today's meeting interactive. So I want to conversate a lot here with all of you. I want you to be here, to be present, yes, and to be involved in this process. So first of all, I'd like to ask you, why do you think it is important to take care of the health of medical workers, of people who work in the medical system, not only doctors, but all the medical staff? Why is it important? Who knows? You can switch on your microphones and tell. I'd really like you to be active today.
I would like to start to answer this. So I think it's very important because there are some things we can't handle by ourselves, and that's why we need other people to take care of it, especially something that's very vital to us, like our health.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Aman. And let's imagine if doctor is ill, then how will it influence the situation in a hospital? Yes, will this doctor be able to take care of the patients, well, in a good way? Yes, normally. Or will he need the help himself first? So that's why it's very important to take care of your health first of all, to understand what do you need also, not just to forget about your own needs, your own thoughts, and so on. And another thing is that according to the World Health Organization, from 30 to 50% of all the diseases that we have are caused by our mental health. Just imagine. So that's why the way we think, the way we feel, it's very important for us to understand how should it, well, also we can predict if we have problems with our mental state, then mainly we will have the problems with our physical health. That's why do not forget about your own situation, about your own mental state. As I often tell students of medical universities, that for all people who work with people, not only doctors, it is important to be here, to be present. When you are taking care of your patients, you need to be present. You need to work with them, with their emotions, with their situation, with their anxieties, with their tensions, and so on. But if you've got your own difficulties and you cannot live it, then you won't be able to concentrate on the problems of your patients. That's why if you know that you've got some difficulties in your private life, maybe, then if possible, ask someone to help you first. Yes, or try to find some patterns to deal with it before meeting your patient. Or it will be too difficult maybe for you. And another thing that a lot of psychologists talk about today is the burnout. Yes, that many doctors, if they work hard without taking care of themselves, then after a while they cannot work normally. They cannot understand their patients' problems. They cannot rest normally. And of course, they get some somatic disorders. So don't forget about your health, please. And today I will tell you about some life hacks. Of course, there are a lot of them. And if I would tell you about the plenty of variants, it will take a lot of time. But still, let's find some of them. And I hope that using them will help you in your professional life, in your life of students, in your private life, maybe. So let's start. Okay. This is our today's topic, life hacks for working with your own ideas that cause you troubles. Strange. Yes, that we need to work maybe with not with some deep things here with mental health, but maybe with some ideas that we have in our mind. How does it work? Let's find out. Today's plan. So first of all, I will tell you a bit of theory of cognitive behavioral therapy, because mostly today we'll talk about some life hacks from cognitive behavioral therapy. Then I hope you'll help me, because I will need some volunteers to work with their unhelpful thinking styles. Then we will talk about self-acceptance and its importance for our health. Then we will practice mindfulness. After that, we will talk a little bit about the importance of social support and how does it take part in our life. Then a little bit about work-life balance, very important topic nowadays. And in the end, I will give you some simple hacks for dealing with stress. If you have any questions, then please ask me. Okay? You can switch on your microphone and ask. The more you're active, the more you understand how to do it, because my aim for today is not just to give you information, but to give you the ways how to do it practically. So let's start with the theory. So we've got some situation. So here we tell it like something that triggers the problem. And usually what we see is behavior. What do someone do in this situation? Also, sometimes if we are rather attentive, we can recognize the emotions of the person and his or her bodily reactions. But what stands behind it is the thought, the idea that this person has in his or her mind, somewhere deep maybe, and it changes a lot. Different thoughts will produce totally different types of behavior in the same situation. So let me show you one example. An event. Your friend walks past without acknowledging you. And here I've got examples of two types of interpretation, but there can be plenty of variants, of course. So first idea here is I must have done something wrong for her to be upset with me. And then we've got the feeling and the reaction. The feeling is anxiety, and also the bodily reaction is tension in stomach. And what can be behavior here? Yes, maybe showing your sadness, maybe uh, running to your friend, telling what's wrong, or even sending a message to this person like, I thought you are not that type of person. But what can be another type of interpretation? She must not have seen me. She looks like she has a lot on her mind. Oops, totally different thing. Yes, and here the feeling would be, so you will be relaxed and concerned for your friend. You will continue doing what you have been doing before, and well, understanding that it's okay. She just haven't seen you. Maybe she was thinking about her own, I don't know, tasks, difficulties. There can be a lot of interpretations, not only these two. And still, your behavior usually depends on these interpretations. So imagine your professor tells you, well, for example, you are working on some scientific project, yes, and you are sending your article to your professor, and he sends you the message, please improve part 2 and part 3. If you've got an idea that, okay, he wants to help me, then you just ask, okay, could you please tell me more? What should I improve here? Yes, and then you continue working on your article. But what if you've got an idea that you are not good enough? Yes, and you are afraid of other people that they can recognize it. Then you start thinking, oh my God, you found out that I'm not a good student. I'm not good enough for this scientific research. Maybe I should leave it. Maybe I should leave the university because everyone can find out that I'm not good enough. Or maybe you've got an idea that the others are enemies, they try to do something bad to you and so on. Then you will think, oh, nasty old man, you are trying to bully me? What can be the reaction? So you start calling your friends, telling, I thought this professor is normal, but he's another wrinkly old man just. He just wants to feel himself good enough in front of us. Same situation. Your professor just sent you a message to improve some parts of your article. But based on your own opinion about this world, about yourself, about people around you, your reaction can be totally different. This is how it often works. And according to the theory of cognitive behavior therapy, we've got a list of special thinking styles that cause us troubles. So, what was here, for example, with the situation with the friend? Yes, it was mind reading. Here it's in jumping to conclusion. One part of it is mind reading. When we think that we know what other person thinks about us, maybe about someone else, and so on. So we really know what he or she thinks. Please show me your hands, those who sometimes find themselves having this idea. It's not something bad, it's just something that we have in our mind. Okay, I see one hand now. Okay, one more. Great. Okay, thank you. Yes. In fact, a lot of people sometimes find themselves thinking like, I know what you are thinking about. Is there any one of you who wants to work with us to find out what to do if you are stuck in this process? Yes, like chewing the same gum for a long time, like I know he's thinking like this and this and this, and we often lose a lot of energy and time on these processes. So, is there a volunteer who can discuss with me this situation in order to find out what to do? What else you can do here? It's okay, don't be shy. If we have someone to talk, it will be more useful, I think. But if
I
you,
would like to volunteer if that's all right.
what again?
I would like to volunteer.
Oh, great, thank you. So, could you please tell me about some situation that made you feel stuck in these thoughts?
Um, Usually it was with my professor when I was doing my research,
Mm-hmm.
and every time I was wondering if what I'm writing is correct and second guessing my thoughts, maybe. And then every time I would write something new, I would still have the same feeling, and so I couldn't get uh, more progress.
Mm-hmm. And when was the moment you felt that you know what your professor thinks about you?
When I actually talked to her about it, and she told me what she exactly wanted. So when we had that conversation, then things got more clear for me.
Mm-hmm. It's great. So you have found out, so you clarified it with your professor, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
That's great. Thank you. It's the best thing here, in fact, to clarify if you are right with your opinion about the thoughts of other person. But sometimes we get stuck in this, so we cannot ask. Maybe we do not want to. And so we've got something like two ways here. So the red way will be to continue chewing this gum. Yes, thinking, he must be thinking that, well, like in the situation with the friend, yes, she must have been thinking that I had done something wrong. Okay. One way is to continue thinking a lot about it. Another way, yes, first of all, we can clarify what was in the reality. What else can we do here? First of all, we can recognize that, in fact, unfortunately, it's the waste of time. If we just think about it over and over again. So, if you feel not, not that good, maybe to ask, to clarify, okay, but try to think what else can you do? Yes, how else can you spend your time, your energy? Discuss about exam. Yes. Well, yes, during the exams, it can also happen. Like we can start. So just imagine, yes, your professor listens to you attentively and tells you nothing. And yes, a lot of students here start trying to guess what is in his or her mind. And often we do not feel ourselves in, like we have enough courage to ask professor, what do you think about my speech? Yes. So, but still, we are always able to choose another way. Yes, first of all, maybe to finish our speech, or to finish writing something. And also we can ask, like, oh, professor, do you think I need to add something more? And so on. Not just like what you're thinking about, but in another way. So in many situations,
Can you please discuss like how to overcome the stress and anxiety?
yes, we will. You mean in this situation when we are mind reading, or you mean the exam stress?
Uh, Means when exams are nearby, your thoughts will be running like so much of stress and all. Like how do we handle that, and how do we forget the negativity and just move on forward?
We will talk about it a little bit later. Okay, don't worry. I've got a few life hacks for you to feel not that stressed and nervous during the exams. Okay,
Okay.
great. In fact, there are a lot of mind thinking styles that can cause us troubles, like labeling. When we, after seeing someone for the first time, we put a label, like this person is smart, this person is stupid, this person is ugly, this person is primitive, and so on. But usually it does not work like this. And but unfortunately, we often use it like a filter. Yes, like so. If something happens according to our label, then we say, yeah, I knew that this person is stupid or something like that. But if he behaves in another way, sometimes we just miss this information. Well, Again, a lot of things they were useful for us maybe in some periods of our lives. But it's very important to be flexible, to leave some patterns of behavior, of thinking styles, if they are not useful anymore. Very, very often thing that cause us troubles is catastrophizing. And here we can come again to the situation with exams. Please show me your hands, those who think that if you do not pass the exam, that then it is a failure. Then you are a failure, then you are, well, there can be a lot of words. How can you call yourself if you do not pass the exams? It's disaster. Mhm. So, can some of you talk to me in order to know what to do if you get into this trap of catastrophizing the situation?
Yes, sure, ma'am. Thank you so much for bringing this question. It's basically since we were a child, a society, and they always praise the people who get good marks and they are top of their classes. And so, it's like it makes us feel more like, okay, then if we fail the exam, then we are like we should be shameful of that. And it's a failure for us and we are not good enough. So it usually happens like that, even if it's just a small quiz we are attending, and in case we fail, okay, so it kind of develops a self doubt in us, that what if like we are the one who are the failures, and we are gonna be the failures for the rest of our lives.
Okay, let me ask you now, please, Miss Priyanjali. If your
Sure, ma'am.
friend fails the exam, does it mean that he or she is the failure for the rest of his or her life? Will you think
No,
like no?
no, yeah.
Okay, let me ask you, let's imagine. So, in fact, usually the best way to work with the catastrophization is to imagine this situation. Okay, what if you fail the exam? You fail the exam. Let's imagine. Let's imagine this situation in the whole picture, the whole scene here. Could you please share how will it look like for you? What happens in your life?
So, for example, if I fail an exam, so first thing is, what will I say to my parents, and how will I, face this whole community around me, people around me, what they will think about me, that oh, I failed the exam, I'm not worthy of, doing this particular thing or a subject. And how will other people see me, plus will I ever pass this exam in the next attempts, or should I just give up, or should I just quit trying because maybe this is not my cup of tea? And will I ever pass any other exam or something like that? And other things are, for example, if I see the other people passing and me failing instead, so then I'll feel like, okay, I'm the dumbest person around them, and yeah, something like that maybe.
Okay, let's imagine the worst version here, that your parents know that you fail, your friends know what happens in your life. Just imagine the events of your life that might happen, the worst situation that might happen.
I think the worst thing is, no, I think nothing will be the worst thing. And like as I'm thinking right now, things will not be that worst. Maybe, I think I will be the only person who will not be interested in doing some other activities for a while, and so I'll feel sad about it, and that's all. I think that can be the worst.
Yes, so thank you. In fact, you are a very realistic person. Sometimes people who catastrophize, we ask them, okay, you can imagine the worst variant ever. Then let's try to imagine what is the percentage of the reality in this scenario. Yes, what is the the percentage that it might really happen. Yes. So for you, ask yourself, what is the percentage of the so that you will fail your next exam if you prepare for it.
Uh, in my opinion, I think we cannot judge the other exams result on the basis of what we did right now with the failure part. Yeah, but ma'am, it's like, it's in the psychology, I think, that we will be more pressurized while we will be preparing for the next exam, and we will prepare with the fear that what if I fail again. So I don't know if it is gonna make any impact on the performance, but yeah, like I'll be stressed, that's for sure. Till the next exam happens and the results come out, I'll be stressed for sure.
How many exams have you already passed for this year, for the few years before?
All the exams.
Hmm. And how many exams have you failed?
I kind of don't remember, but when I was in my school, like before 7 or 8 years, so that time I used to, like kind of little bit, because I'm very weak with maths. Okay, so I used to kind of fail maths sometimes. So yeah, and I ever passed maths with a very, boundary passing, like the minimum maths taken for like required to pass. So yeah, that time I used to feel this the most.
But now you are much older, you've got much more experience, and you know that mostly you pass your exams satisfactory. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
So, what is the chance that you fail your next exam then?
Less, yeah.
So, how do you feel now if you know that the chance to fail is very low?
Better. Like, yeah, I will be, not that much stressed while preparing for the exam.
Thank you. It is very important to come back to reality. Thank you, Miss Priyanjali. Because
Thank you, ma'am.
all these catastrophes, all these disasters, they happen in our mind only, not in the reality. So, yes, if you want, if you need, you can make a short film in your mind about the disaster. But still, yes, Mr. Mohammed, just a moment, please. I'll finish the phrase. But still, mostly we need to come back to the reality to understand that, well, you have already passed a lot of exams and you really know how to do it. It's okay. Yes, Mr. Mohammed, you raised your hand. Okay. If you want to ask something, then please do it and we will continue. Yes?
Hi, how are you? It's good to see you here.
Great.
Yeah, you just said that we need to look on the positive side and how many exams we have passed and not see like the chances of we getting failed, right?
It's not the positive side, in fact, it's the real side. Just imagine.
Yeah, but there's a concept in psychology called the negative bias, right? Where the brain tends to overlook the positive side and focuses more on the negative side, right? And I think my like I function more like that. I have a very raised bar of negative bias, so I always tend to look on the darker side of the situation. So how do you tackle that?
I like the phrase. So some people, they think that if they concentrate on some bad sides of themselves or of the prognosis of what might happen, then it helps them to be more concentrated and to get better results. But usually, if we look deeper, we find out that the reason is not in your uh, readiness to the bad sides, but on your efforts that you take. Can you continue taking the same efforts without being concentrated on some bad sides?
I just, as I said, that it's like the general mechanism, and in like generally it happens like if someone criticizes you, you'll remember that, but you will not remember multiple compliments, right?
Well, sometimes people's mind work like this, yes. But does it really help you?
No, it does not.
So let's try next time when you hear something like this, you can tell yourself it is his opinion. Everyone can have his or her opinion, but it may be totally wrong.
Yeah. How about overcoming the PTSD? As just Priyanjali said, when you, if in case you have failed an exam and the next time you go to write the same exam, you will have thoughts that, oh, you failed this exam. How do you overcome that? Like, it's not just easy to make your brain understand that it's okay, it just happened and it will not happen again.
Yes, of course, in this situation, it can be more difficult. And you can start thinking, okay, I have failed it for one time, but again, you can think more, so concentrate more again on your efforts. Yes? Okay, on the previous time, maybe I needed to do this and this instead of having this, instead of doing that, the things that I used to do. Yes, what can I do to improve my results in my efforts? So make it a kind of a challenge. So yes, you know that you may fail. And of course, in the reality, we know that in every situation, we may fail. After finishing, after graduating, you will find out that in the real life, there are, well, a lot of situations when we know that, yes, when we make a surgery, for example, yes, or when we try to find out what is happening to the patient, we might fail. But is it useful to concentrate on this part, or it's better to concentrate on the efforts that we can take to help someone? Miss Payak, what do you think?
Yeah, I got it, but maybe you have to get habituated and you have to gradually train your mind to think so.
Don't worry. Well, in fact, I wanted to tell it in the end of today's class, but still there are a few life hacks. Yes. One of them is to be present. Yes. Um, So let me change the slide then. This is a good strategy to work with stress. Even sometimes it helps with panic attacks. It is called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, first of all, you concentrate on 5 things you can see now. Let's train it. Yes, concentrate on 5 things you can see around you just now. For example, I can see a book. I can see my son's toy. I can see a bottle of water. I can see a lollipop, and I can see my pen. So find 5 objects that you can see just now. Then find 4 objects that you can touch with your hand just now. You can even do it. You can even physically touch these 4 objects. So touch their surface. Is it warm? Is it cold? And so on. Is it hard or soft? Then find 3 things you can hear now. So I'm living, for example, in a block of flats, and I hear the sounds of other people in other flats now. Maybe you can hear some sounds from the streets. Yes, like dogs, maybe, or cars, the ring of someone's bicycle. Yes, someone's words. 3 things done. 2 things that you can smell just now. So in front of me, there are my son's lollipops, and he likes lollipops with spice, so I can smell them. Yes. And also I can smell my perfume, for example. 2 things I can smell. And also 1 thing that you can taste now. Well, if you can do it physically, you can imagine that you can taste something in front of you. Yes, maybe you've got some sweets in front of you, at least water. I've got a bottle of water in front of me. So this is the technique that you can use when you feel panicked. You come back to the reality just now. What is happening to you just now, without being concentrated on some frustrating past or some future that makes you feel anxious. Just now. What do you have just now? And after that, you can make a plan of dealing with this exam. Yes, when you are present, usually you are not that anxious, and you start thinking more logically and more realistic, like, okay, now I need to do this. So, for example, I need to study this topic. What can I do to study this topic, to learn this material? Maybe I need to find some extra material for me to understand it better. Maybe I need to open the YouTube to find some educational videos about it, and so on. So let's come back to the topics that we have. Miss Fayak, how do you feel now?
Yeah, it's better.
So take this technique. It's very simple.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Great. I'm really glad.
Is it that it helps you leave behind your past for a moment and live in the present, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, we all have some things in our past, some mistakes, and it's okay. Please show me your hands, those who have ever made mistakes. Only one person have ever made it? Yeah. I can show my hands too. Yeah. So if we're talking the mythology, then we know that even the demigods make mistakes. So we all make mistakes. It's something normal for our life. Sometimes these mistakes are not that comfortable for us. Yes. Sometimes the result of them is not that comfortable. But still, it's life. That's why I want to show you another thing here. Just a moment. First thing that I ask you to start your day with, to give yourself credit. It's wonderful life hack from one of the authors of CBT. And she says, even me, myself, start every my day with giving myself a credit. Her name is Judith Black. If you want, you can find her videos. And she says, it's so important to start every your day with giving yourself a credit that you are good enough. You are smart enough. You are beautiful. You are intelligent, and so on. Before starting thinking about the tasks that you have today, the problems you need to deal with, and so on, first of all, think about your good sides. Also, the second thing that you can use, well, a lot of people nowadays tell about it. In my life, first person who told me about it was my granny. When I was a little girl, she said, start every day thanking the God, the world around, and so on. Telling, thank you for this new day. Also, you can tell, thank you, for example, my roommates, that you helped me a lot. Thank you, I don't know, my parents, they take care of me. And if you start your day with these things, it takes few moments just, but your mind changes. And as I told you, in CBT, we believe that our thoughts can program our behavior. Oh yes, I will do it, of course. I will share this presentation with you, of course. So, simple things that you can start your day with to change it. And in the end of the day, do the same things. Thank the others, the world around, the God, if you believe in God, for this day, for the lessons you could learn, for the things that helped you, for things that happened in the way you wanted or in the way you didn't want. Because sometimes things happen not in the way we wanted, but it could be much better. After some time, we realized that, wow, it was much better than I could understand, than I could predict. And another thing is, again, giving credit to yourself in the end of the day. So I used to do a lot, especially if you are tired, if you are stressed, then wow, you could deal with a lot of things even though you were tired, even though you were afraid of this exam, for example, of this professor, maybe. You could. That's great. Oh, how to stop overthinking? Let's do it in a few moments. Okay? Next thing I wanted to tell you is about self-acceptance. First question here I have already asked you, yes, about mistakes, that it's very important to understand that we all made mistakes, we all are making mistakes, and we all will make mistakes. It's okay, it's just life. So we are all not perfect, so we all have got something we are good in and something we are not. Again, it's okay. Even though you are a good professional, for example, in making surgeries, why not? But maybe you are not good with in talking with children, for example. It's okay. You are doing your work and you are doing it brilliantly. You are a professional. But it doesn't mean that you should be perfect in all the fields. Well, as for me, I'm a bad driver, for example. So I believe that I'm a good psychologist and psychotherapist, but I'm a bad driver. And even though I usually cook rather good, but sharing the presentation now, just a moment, I'll send you the link, okay? I will, now it may be closed because I was not ready to give the access for the presentation. So well, just after today's meeting, I will make it open, okay? So coming back to the self-acceptance, yes. So we can be good in some fields, and it's great to improve our skills in these fields, or maybe to change the way, yes, if we think that we want to, well, study something new, maybe to choose some new way and so on, maybe to learn some new language. Great. But if you do not know something, it's still okay, especially if you are studying. So on the first year of education, could you answer all the questions you can answer now? Just remember yourselves. Or when you were little children, maybe you could not read. Yes. There was a period when you could not walk. Did that mean that you would never walk, talk, read, or that you would never be good doctors? So if we cannot do something now, it does not mean that you won't be able to do it in future. Another thing is that it's important to accept not just ourselves the way we are, but also to accept people around us. That yes, they are also
Yeah,
human.
The
Yes.
people around us, when we are accepting the people around us, it's more hurtful. Like they are, they are not in good terms. Like we accept the way they are, but they won't accept us, and it hurts more.
Yes, it's another thing that it's better to accept that people around us should not behave the way we want them to behave. This is the acceptance of the others. I could tell, unfortunately, but no. Fortunately, because if they all behaved in the way we wanted to, then we would never get some interesting surprises, and our conversations would be much more, silly and so on. Would it be interesting for you to socialize with people that behaved, all the time the way you wanted to?
No, it won't be interesting.
Yeah. It begins to be boring if we can
Yeah,
predict.
yeah.
And another thing is, so if we can do mistakes, if we can behave not in the way someone wants us to behave, well, just imagine that you need to behave all the time the way someone tells you to do. It won't be, in fact, it's violence. If someone dictates us what to do, how to behave all the time. Same thing is about the others, even though it hurts. Because they are different, they are not obligated to behave all the time the way we want them to. It's another, another non-working style of thinking that if I do, well, if I behave like this, so for example, if I am always honest with the others, well, let's imagine that, then they also should always be honest with me. It's another trap of our thinking. Because should they? If I always help the others, then should they always help me? It's my choice to be honest with them. It's my choice to help. Another thing is if we have a deal. Yes, well, yes, still we know that sometimes people do not follow the debts and so on, but usually if we have a deal, this means that we all follow it. But if we don't, then we are all free. And we need to be rather flexible, understanding that other people, again, for them being honest, it may have different sense, different
Yeah,
meaning.
but to come out of that is very hard. Like you are being helpful and truthful, and they don't show it back to you, and then you have to face it all, and then you start feeling like no, you should be rude like them, and you start your own identity, like you start behaving in such way.
Will it make you feel more comfortable if you become rude?
No,
Then let's accept yourself just the way you are. You are more sensitive, more helpful, and so on. This is your way of life. people around can be different, but still there are a lot of people who will help, a lot of people who will be on your side. We cannot make all the people be on our side. We cannot make all the people help us. But still, there will be people who will help. There will be people who will be polite and so on. And sometimes it's helpful to separate from people who hurt us, maybe for a while, or at least to discuss it. Yes, because maybe they just don't know that their behavior hurts you. It's a very important rule that no one have to guess what we are thinking about or what we are feeling. Sorry. So it's just something that, again, it's our accepting, our part of accepting the world around, that it should not be the way we want it to be. So accepting ourselves, it's the first thing, but also accepting other people and the world around is another thing, to be healthy and not that stressed. Because if we expect the others to be the way we want them to be, then we feel stressed, of course, if they don't. Or, for example, we expect the world to be the way we want it to be. Yes, so some people think that, okay, if I am, well, for example, if I pray, if I follow all the instructions and so on, then the world should give me the things that I want to get. But even the saint people can be ill sometimes. Even they sometimes do not get the things they want. It doesn't mean that the world is bad. It just means that it's not our toy. That it should not be the way we want it to be. Because again, just imagine there are so many people around. If everything happens the way we want, then also it should happen the way they want. But still, a lot of things happen the way we want if we take efforts. And a lot of people, they start behave differently in front of us if we can explain them. What do we feel? And so on. It should be not in the way like, why don't you do like this? But the way like, I feel sad when you do not understand what I'm doing to you. I feel sad when I'm doing everything on my own. Please help me. And it is totally different. Just feel the difference. When you do not judge the other person, like you are bad if you don't do it, but you tell about your own feelings, yes, the deep things inside yourselves that you have when he or she behaves this way. But again, you give him or her a chance to choose what to do. So you do not dictate. You just tell, I feel like this. Maybe together, if it is important for both of us, we can find out what to do. Miss, I don't know, Priyanjali, or what is Priya here? How do you feel now? Can you try to discuss it like this?
Yes, ma'am. I think it's just amazing, it's something we all needed to hear and in our day-to-day life, what we go through. So I think, yeah, it's kind of, I need to think about and kind of get into practice with it. So thank you so much for this. I'm really loving it. You actually, since the very beginning, you kind of, 6 to 7 things what I had in my mind, you solved it with this webinar. So yeah, I'm looking forward to more webinars like this.
Oh, I'm very glad. So, another thing, oh, just a moment. Oh, yeah, mindfulness. Let's practice it. It's another good idea about overthinking, for example. Yes, when you find yourself overthinking, there are different ideas what you can do. Yes, especially some sensitive people, they start overthinking when they go to bed and it disturbs them. So what can you do here? Of course, you can drink some herbal teas, you can meditate and so on. Mindfulness is, in fact, something like meditation, but, well, maybe a little bit more simple. So here we do not need to concentrate on some special thoughts or mantras or something like that, but we just close our eyes. So please now, if it's possible, sit comfortably. Yes, and close your eyes. And start feeling your body first of all. Feel your fingers, feel your toes, feel your hands and arms and shoulders, feel your neck, feel your head, feel your back, feel your chest, feel your tummy, feel your legs, feel your feet, feel all your body present. Smell what is around you. Hear the sounds. Come back to this present moment. Now you are just here and now, without anything else. And breathe deeply. Help your energy that you have to go through all your body. Ask yourselves, are you energized now or are you tired? Ask your body, ask your mind. Maybe you need to have a rest just now. Then give yourself a chance to do it. Just breathe and feel yourself. Feel the comfort around you. Concentrate on your breathing. Now again, Listen to the sounds around. Again, feel your body. Feel your feet. Feel your legs. Feel your tummy, your back, your chest. Feel your shoulders. Feel your neck and head. Feel your arms. Feel your hands. Feel your fingers and thumbs. Feel your toes. And very slowly open your eyes. This is a rather simple technique to stop overthinking and to be present. And also it helps ourselves to recognize if we are tired, maybe, if we need to have time for rest and so on. Because in this technique, we are very close to our bodies, and our bodies usually know better if we need something. So if you are hungry, for example, when you follow this technique, when you use it, you start feeling this hunger. Yes. So maybe some of you now need to take something to eat or to drink. Again, drinking enough water is very important for our health, and not only physical one, but also the mental one. Because if we do not drink enough water, strangely, but for our brain, it's also very important. So I will continue telling you something, but if you are that relaxed, then continue being relaxed. Just listen. The next thing I wanted to tell you is social support. According to different research, social support helps to decrease the risk of having cancer for 3 times, for example. In many situations, we tell that our health, so that not just our health, that we are biopsychosocial beings. If we feel loneliness, if we feel that no one accepts us, then we feel, then our problems become, we feel them like they are much bigger and so on. But if we have people around who can accept us just the way we are, then we feel like we are so strong to deal with a lot of things in our lives. Social support is one of the key things to deal with stress and depression. What is social support? It can be different. First is when you ask for help. Again, it's okay to ask for help. Sometimes we think like, oh, why should I disturb the others? Why should I annoy them? But usually, for these people, it's not that difficult. Just imagine, if you ask them, usually they can say, oh, why not? Let's do it. Or, for example, I can't do it today. Let's do it tomorrow. Or I cannot do it on my own, but I know someone who can. And so on. And also, maybe for this person, it's not, this task is not that difficult like it is for you, because we all are different. And for someone, it can be something simple, just to do it and not to think a lot about it. So first thing is asking for help. Yes, and another thing, another way of social support is not to ask for help, but just to ask for listening to you. Sometimes the most helpful thing in the world is just to sit in front of the person who needs this help and to listen to him without judgment. To listen like, oh, I understand your feelings, or maybe I cannot understand it by my experience, but I see, I feel that for you it's so hard. So try to use your empathy when someone asks you just to listen to him or her. Maybe it can save someone from big troubles. And again, it's okay to ask someone, especially someone close to you, just to listen. And yes, there are psychotherapists if no one can sit in front of you and listen. Another thing is that there are special groups of support. So if you feel that your situation is rather hard and you do not know what to do, again, there are groups of social support, groups of people who really know what is it to feel hopelessness, helplessness, and so on. Don't be afraid to find these groups and to contact them if you need it. It is okay. Another important thing for everyone and also for doctors is work-life balance. When I teach someone about time management, so when I teach someone to manage their time, first of all, I tell people that when you plan something for tomorrow, first of all, plan your free time. It can sound strange in this world of people who are mad about work, that first of all, we need to plan our rest. But if we are tired, in fact, we cannot work normally. That's why, first of all, we should plan time for our normal sleep, for having meals, for socializing with our friends, with our family, for our hobby. Yes, it's okay to have hobby, and it's very helpful. Again, when I work with people with depression, sometimes hobby is the thing that helps them to feel much better. So you need to have time for yourselves, for the things that you like, even though you really love your work. Well, let's find a simple example. I think all of you have some meals, well, some types of food that you really like. Do you?
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Garvita. But what happens if you have to eat your favorite meal every single day? In the morning, in daytime, in the evening, day by day. Just imagine it. What will you feel?
It will become then so boring for me to eat it every time.
Yeah. Same things happens to all of us. So sometimes, for example, young parents ask me what to do if I feel tired of my own children. And I ask them, okay, how much time do you spend with your children? And some young mothers tell, of course, I spend all my time with them. It sounds strange, but what if you find some time for yourself just? Even though you like someone really much, you can get tired of this person. Even though you like some activity very much, even though you like your work. But still, if it takes most part of your time, or especially all your time, except time of sleep, I hope, then you will get tired of it. So you need to find different ways. You need to change your activities. That's why I wanted to show you another life hack. Yeah, Pomodoro technique. It is called Pomodoro because of the timer that the doctor that created this technique used, because it looked like a Pomodoro, tomato. Pomodoro is tomato. And what is it? So we can use this technique also while preparing for the exam. We can use it while working, while writing some article, and so on. So we choose a task that is important for us. We concentrate on this task. It's very important, yes. We set a timer for 25 minutes. For these 25 minutes, we concentrate on this task. We stop thinking about anything else. So for example, you try to get ready for your exam. So you concentrate on this task for 25 minutes. Then when the timer rings, you stop learning for 5 minutes. You take a break. After 5 or maybe 10 minutes, it's okay if you feel that you need 10 minutes, not 5. Again, you set the timer for another 25 minutes. You continue studying. After 25 minutes, you should have another 5-minute break. And after 4 times like this, you need to have a longer break for 15 or 30 minutes when you stop thinking about this task at all. You go and drink some tea with your friends, you call your parents, you find what, so maybe you work with, so not work, so maybe now you go to your hobby or something like that. Maybe you walk, maybe you do some exercises. So change the activity for these 15 or maybe 30 minutes. And even though after a few hours, you need to have bigger breaks. Maybe, well, again, to go to some nature. Now in Kazan it's kind of cold, but when it's warmer, it's easier to walk somewhere, to talk to someone, or something not very important, not about this task. Yes, to sleep, to eat. It's very important part of work-life balance and of working of our brain, that we need to sleep enough. When we sleep, our brain organizes the information that we get, and it really needs enough time for it. Look at your group mates who do not sleep enough before the exam. usually they have a kind of a mess in their heads because our brain needs time. Another thing is, yeah, our brain likes sweets, but it doesn't mean that we should all the time eat sweets before the exams. It can be some, well, it's better to have some dried fruits in front of you. Yes. Or also it likes nuts, for example. I don't mean the sweets called nuts. I mean the real nuts. Yes. So try to feed yourself, your body, with food that your body really needs. Yes. Give yourself a chance to have a shower, to have a rest, to discuss something, maybe to paint, and so on. So you need to have periods of concentration on your study or your work, of course. Yes, it's very important. But then you need to have breaks. In the hospitals, there are special rooms for rest of doctors. It is really important. To be able to concentrate on your work, especially, again, doctors usually work hard for very long periods of time. That's why so you need to have timer when you need to go for rest. You need to have a break. It is okay. It's not just okay, it is important for your health. And your health is important for your patients, in fact. So taking care of yourself, you are taking care of your patient. And also you are taking care of your colleagues. It can sound strange, but if you cannot work normally, then they need to help you with your work. So if for you it is important to take care of your patients and to be a good part of your group where you work in, then take care of yourself. So let's summarize. Yes. What we've been talking about today, because there were a lot of things today, I know it's kind of hard so to learn a lot. So first thing we started with is that our thoughts can change a lot in our life. Changing the thoughts, changing our opinion about this world, we can change a lot in our behavior and in the life we live in. So, and we can work with our thoughts. It is important to accept yourself, the others, and the world around us, just the way we are, the way they are, and the way the world is. Being present helps to reduce stress and deal with many difficulties. Just here and now. We all need the social support. It is extremely important. So if you feel stressed and tired, don't be shy to ask help. Don't be shy to ask your colleagues, your friends, your relatives, or specialists who work with us. We all need work-life balance. We all need time to rest. We all need time for our hobby or meeting with our friends and so on. We all need time to eat normally and so on. If you are too nervous, you can use life hacks. So there are different life hacks nowadays the internet, and I tried to show you some of them. So if you find them comfortable and useful for you, then use them. It's good to make your life easier in this way. Yes, of course, I will open the presentation. Yeah, the link that I've sent, it is the link for the presentation. It's just not open yet. Just a moment. I will make it opened. Okay, just a moment. Now it is opened, so you can copy this link and you can watch it. At least you can find there the names of life hacks to use if you feel stressed, if you feel anxious. And again, if you need help, ask someone to help you. It's okay. Thank you. Maybe you have some questions. Again, ask. If you need,
Thank you
please.
so much, ma'am, for this amazing presentation.
Like, can you give tips to the students how to tackle?
Could you please repeat it again? Maybe it was something with my volume, but I could not hear it clearly. I'm sorry. Miss Bree, please repeat it once again. Or maybe you can send your question to the chat. Okay, let's wait for your question. And yes, Mr. Aman.
So we actually had some questions from the form that we submitted, and so these are the questions that people have asked. So first one is, what's the most important aspect that people forget usually about mental health?
Usually, first aspect that they forget about is that, especially when we're talking about the doctors, is that they need to take care of themselves first, that they are also human beings. Yes, and another second thing is, yes, that often we forget that just supporting the others and asking someone for help can be more than enough in many situations, that it's okay to ask.
And there's one more question which asks, are earlier experience in life major cause of anxiety problems in adulthood?
What do you mean by experience?
I think they mean to ask if there are any earlier experiences in childhood. For example, when you're a kid, you have high pressure for exams. Would that be something that would cause you anxiety when you grow up as an adult?
Oh. Again, if we have some things in the past, we cannot change our past, of course. But we still can change our present. So we can tell ourselves, yes, in the past, I had, well, some difficulties maybe. Yes, so for example, for many years, I had phobia. I was afraid of high places. Because when I was a little girl, when I was 4 years old, I've fallen down from the second floor in the house of my granny and grandpa. Fortunately, my grandpa caught me, but for many years I was afraid of getting somewhere to the high places. But usually the only way to work with anxiety is to make steps to face this anxiety.
Right. And there's also a question about what are the principles, how this cognitive behavior therapy works.
It helps us, first of all, to find our thoughts that cause us troubles. Yes. And then to create another ones that can help us to deal with these previous ones. Yes. So again, we cannot delete our past. We cannot delete these thoughts like they do not exist. But we can create the new ones more useful. Yes. And stand on this position.
I understand, that's very insightful.
Great, thank you.
And there's one more question about how to tackle depression, imposter system syndrome, sorry, and paranoia. Like how to be mentally strong so you don't struggle from these challenges.
It's not something that we can improve just in the moment, unfortunately. So mental health is also health. Care here is also care like in the medical care and so on. So we will need to have a plan. So, and again, every single situation is different from the others. So if we have depression, in some situations we can use the support of our relatives and so on. In some situations we need medications. In some situations we need psychotherapy. And again, well, sometimes if a lot of people, most part of people faced depression at least once in their life, of course, and many of them dealt with that on their own. But again, if you find out that you can't, then again, so it's like, with some diseases, somatic diseases, that sometimes we find, okay, yes, I need to stay home for a while, I need to drink vitamins, um, maybe some medications that I know that work on me, and it will be enough. But sometimes I understand that the situation is not that simple and I need to visit a specialist. So if you feel that you can deal with it, yes, first of all, maybe you can find the groups of support. Yes, there are people who already know a lot of things in this way, yes, and maybe they can help you, first of all, yes. But again, if you feel that nothing helps, then you need to go to psychotherapist or psychiatrist. What's the difference? Psychotherapists, they usually work with the different types of behavior or mental therapy, and psychiatrists, they also prescribe the medications. Both versions are useful. So I cannot tell that do this, don't do that, and so on.
Can you repeat that 5 4 3 2 1 technique once again? Copying technique 5 3.
Uh, okay, it will be in the presentation also, but 5 things that you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
And coming back to the previous question, to know that you've got some diagnosis like paranoia or something like that, it's not enough to read it in Google. The specialist should give you the diagnosis, because yes, in the internet there is a ton of information, but still every single situation is different. And it's like when you work as a doctor. So you need to clarify the symptoms. Same symptoms can have different meanings. They can have different results in the future, and they can have different problems in the past that caused these symptoms. Thank you.
And ma'am, we have a question from the chat.
Yeah.
So, all right.
If someone is expecting to be a psychiatrist, they need to deal with patients who have many extreme or traumatic experiences. How, as a psychiatrist or as a human, can I not get emotionally affected by their experiences and help them deal with their experiences? Well, it's not just about psychiatrists, but also about all people who work with people. So again, one of the problems of doctors, especially young ones, is that they get involved in these situations. It's not that bad, but it exhausts. So that's why here we need to find the balance. Yes, we want to help these people, but their problems are not our own problems. We need not to get it that close. Yes. So, and we need to remember always that, again, if we want to help the others, we need to be healthy, not to take too much of this. If we are too involved in this problem, then we won't be able to help. So if and again, to be a good psychotherapist and psychiatrist, you need to be rather empathic, but to be a little bit aside, to look at this situation from the outside. Because if you are in the situation, you cannot see some parts of it. You will be too sensitive to this pain, and you won't be able to, the work of doctors and psychiatrists and psychotherapists is a kind of a detective work. And when you need to find pieces of this puzzle, yes, and to find out, oh, this is the reason, this is the root, yes. But to see all these puzzles, you need to be outside. If you are in, you will miss some parts of it. So again, it is good if you empathize your patients, but to help them really, you need to be outside.
And ma'am, one last question for the evening. So someone has asked, how do you deal with a toxic work environment or maybe in classes when someone is being hostile towards you?
Once again, I'm trying to understand.
So the question is, how do you manage yourself when you're in a toxic environment? It could be like a workplace or in university, maybe people bullying, something like that.
Oh, when I was younger, it was harder. But after many years of experience, I understand that often people behave not in the way they want to, not in the way they think about, and so on. And I just know that usually they behave maybe strangely and so on, just because they have troubles. Often, when you will see your patients, some of them will shout at you. Some of them will cry. Some of them will even try to hit you, maybe, because they are kind, inside of their problems again. Yes, so they just feel the pain. And the same thing is about the mental health. So some of my patients start screaming, shouting, and so on. And I know that it will stop in a while. I just say, well, sometimes I just stand aside and wait till the end. Yes. Sometimes I say, okay, if you want, you can shout. This is my office is the place where you can shout, where you can scream, and so on. Maybe you need to well, I even can give you a pillow to hit it. No problem. And often people start changing their mind in these moments, like, I'm really able to do these things. I say, of course you are able. We all need to express our emotions. It is okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking your precious time and giving us this insightful session. It has been really valuable for us. And I would like to thank you especially, as well as PRASHA and the mental health division of it, for organizing such amazing seminar, and for everyone who attended today. And we have posted a form, like a feedback form, where you can tell us how it went, if you have any feedbacks, and if you have any ideas or something preference that you would like for the next events. So once again, thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of today.
Thank you.
Thank thank you, ma'am, for this amazing, effective meeting. Thank you. I really appreciate.
Thank you. I'm really glad.
Also, I'd like to mention, please, we'll be sending the certificates to everyone who filled the form. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr.